I
We can
don't
chat.
know. What do you think?
We were talking around the last time that got this whole idea started. We were talking around coping skills and how your budget fits into your mood and stuff like that. So coming out of this last year, I'm sure there's plenty of people who need to have the security of knowing that they have their budget under control and that that budget is going to move forward in such a way to support all of their goals, including possibly getting coaching. But people try to avoid it like the plague. Not that I didn't do that in my 20s, because you're not making money or you don't think you're making money. So they don't think that $20 is going to go anywhere. And it's
Mm,
very disempowering. So I think we started with, and maybe a good place to start with, how can $20 be empowering?
yeah, so
What
I
do you
think
think?
that I mean I think that the biggest thing is to take any like moralizing value of like the actual dollar amount away, because what is $20 to one person could be 200 or 2000 to another person. Like the value we place on a specific dollar amount is like very, very, very relative. So if $20 is what you can save, then that is a huge amount and that's amazing. And it should go to your savings or towards investments, but if $20 is nothing to you, if you'd spend $20 on coffee, then you need to like up your goals a little bit and be saving and investing amounts that are significant to you.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to 20-year-old me, 22 years old, right out of college and
Yeah.
flat broke.
Yeah.
What? Because I do think and I didn't have anybody telling me this. And when you
Mm-hmm.
and I were speaking before, I think it was really, really important that you were saying things that were, again, incredibly empowering, that I needed to hear back then
Mm-hmm.
about where the different places you could put that $20 so that it would multiply. So by the time you were 30 and you had $200 or $2,000 to put away, you're glad you did the 20. It's not like, oh, well, I could have done that in a month. So what was the point of me doing that whole time?
Mm-hmm.
So where do you put that $20 to make it relevant during those 5 years, 10 years, whatever, when you're building, so that when you're 30, you're like, wow, I did a good thing for myself that, I should have been doing all that time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like there are a few different things. Everybody needs just cash, like emergency savings. So liquid savings available to you, in case you lose your job or need to leave your job or any of these things you want, at least a few months of living expenses, like safe in a savings account. So that should be goal. Number one, you also want to make sure that like consumer debt is taken care of, like higher interest, personal loans or credit cards, stuff like that will be a very good use of that $20. And then if all of those bases are covered, you want to invest it, put it into a Roth IRA if your, income is in the threshold. And then that can like really, really, really grow for you. And the amazing thing about Roth IRAs is that you pay the taxes now when your income is lower, but then by the time you've retired, accumulated tons of money, all of that, you get to take that money out tax-free when you're in retirement. So I think that's a good place for everybody to start.
Now, the confusion that I had when I was 20
Yeah.
is that I had student loan debt. I had a couple of credit cards, nothing crazy credit cards, but still, things you had to pay on. You need to work on your savings, which I had
Mm-hmm.
to start doing. And I wanted to be, putting something away. And so the
Yeah.
putting it away part and the growing part got sidelined by the fact that I had things to pay on, life expenses, and I was trying to do this, the liquid savings.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way, like, what is the mix of those three? Should you be doing all of them at once? Should you just, because as I'm learning now, I should not have tabled the Roth IRA at that time because I would have had a whole lot more now because of compounding and all that. But at the time, people were like, no, don't even worry about that. You have to pay off your high interest stuff. So there's conflicting information coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's the thing that makes money so hard for all of us, is that it's not just a Google like 5 things I should be doing, in my 20s, and you'll find endless lists like that, but it's so personal. And that's why you don't only need the education, but you need to be able to apply it to your own personal situation. Because if we look on paper, paying off high interest debt is a mathematically more sound decision than investing, because investments return an average of 8% per year, But if you have 16% interest credit card debt, that will just like mathematically be a quote better use of your money to put it towards credit card debt. But that does not account for like the emotional component of this, where accumulating assets, accumulating net worth is something that makes us feel good and successful and forward moving. And that is a separate like equation from just what is the like better interest rate, you know? And so we never, ever, ever want to discount that. If you as an individual need more cash savings to make you feel safe, like then that's where your money should go. If you want to feel like you're growing and developing, then investing your money is great. And if you want to be debt free, if like your debt stresses you out and you find it difficult and anxiety provoking and shameful, then putting your money towards that is great. You know, there's no one size fits all solution here.
So it is perfectly legitimate. And I think you're getting kind of into my wheelhouse here a little bit to say that a personalized strategy is a good deal.
Yeah.
And if I'm somebody who is just starting out and I don't feel that I'm worth a lot, perhaps I could use, I mean, and when I say that, I mean financially, I could use somebody like you to help me figure out what does it take for me to create a strategy around that that's going to be effective.
Yeah, exactly. And I think something that we discount is that these things come up in every stage of life. You know, it's not only when you're 22 earning no money, you know, the same issues are still there when you're 30 and earning better money, or when you're 40 and earning really good money. You know, these like your relationship with money, your habits around money, the financial decisions that you've made, all they do is like compound and grow. And so, you know, for better or for worse. And so problems that felt like just $20 problems at age 20 become $20,000 problems at 40, you know? And so like people can use help with their finances at every stage of their life.
No doubt. So then when I'm teaching people about empowerment and kind of picturing who is your 10 times self, who is that person that you're stepping into, right? Because if we just, okay, who am I now? What do I qualify for? We go laterally. But if we are thinking, okay, who's that next person that I want to be? Do I want to be the CEO? Do I want to be the manager? Do I want to be the owner? You know, whoever that is. Do I want to be the wife, the mother, whatever that next step is that you have and you're picturing it, you're more likely to step into it, right?
Yes.
So if I am getting out of college and I'm trying to set myself up for success, and I'm thinking, okay, who's that person that I want to be at 26? I mean, 4 years of out in the real working world changes a person, as I recall. Then perhaps starting with your services, you get the financial stuff settled and organized in such a fashion that you can build towards that 10 times self, that bigger person, that person that's going to be 4 years from now, who is debt free, has savings, has retirement, and has a good footing in the adulting world, and does not have that weighing them down, because financial issues weigh people down. I mean, just emotionally, it is so hard. But if I've learned anything, is that asking for advice is a good thing.
Yeah.
There is a wealth of advice out there, and no two pieces of advice are the same thing, just like we're saying, right? So I would feel very empowered if that one part of me, the financial side of me, had a very firm footing, a very solid foundation that I built with somebody. Even if it were $20 in savings, $20. Well, I don't know how much. What would you say the threshold for somebody for your services? You know, somebody sitting here going, well, okay, $20 seems like it's minuscule, and it is, because we're using it because it's a cute number. But if somebody wanted to utilize your services, where should they be in their head?
Like what their income level should be, or what do you mean by that?
You tell me. Like income level, but also disposable, because as you pointed out, there's some people with very high income with student debt that's up to their ears. So
yeah, I
where's
think that
that threshold?
most
I am able to play around with X and so much. Maybe not play around with. I shouldn't be playing around with it. I should be making very conscious decisions about it. What do you think?
Yeah, so it's less about disposable income, because most people that I work with have the income, they're just not allocating it in a way that serves them. And so they might feel like I have no extra money at the end of the month. And that's true. They are living paycheck to paycheck, but that doesn't mean that there's no money to work with. It just means that it's not being allocated in a way that's working for them. So I would say that it's more of like an emotional threshold more than anything. You know, if you're just in more of an information gathering place, you know, you just want to research what are smart things to do with your money, you know, then you probably don't need to be working with somebody. You know, if you just want to like learn some information and work on implementing it yourself, then that's amazing. And it's probably not the right time for you to invest in working with somebody on this. But when it's reached that threshold of like, your money is keeping you up at night, you know, the stress of your credit card debt, living paycheck to paycheck, not having enough money in savings, not saving for your children's college, whatever, when these things are keeping you up at night, that's the time to take the leap to working with somebody. Ideally sooner, but most of us wait until it's, yeah.
You know, I always say, and you bring up two good points. A lot of people think that you're supposed to start looking when you have an abundance of income and you're trying to figure out what to do with it. Because we think of wealth management as having the wealth to manage. Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah.
But what I hear you saying is this is getting to the place where you have wealth to manage.
Exactly.
Which is a complete mindset shift.
Yeah. Because most people I work with have the income to generate wealth. It's just that when your income isn't distributed in a way that will build wealth for you, that's never going to happen. So we get people out of like the paycheck to paycheck cycle and in towards having their money really working for them, whatever that means to them. That means different things for each of us.
No doubt. And so you're not saying these people have to be six-figure income folks.
No, I mean, I would say that you definitely have a lot more money to work with when you're earning six figures, you know,
True.
And, you know, you can make changes faster, you can pay off debt faster, all of that, but we don't have any like hard limit for income.
Okay. Again, social worker. So yeah, six figures. Yeah, right. Maybe one day, because I'm also an entrepreneur, but I also tend to try to cover the people in my area because I know as people in many of the helping professions, it's a long way to that, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
And then there are people who do six figures, but depending on where in the country you live, sometimes that's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So, no, that's wonderful to hear because I don't know what people are being taught now, but I was being taught the old way of saving, having a bunch of money, then investing it. And I think it was in transition as I was, you know, coming out of college. And I'm glad to hear that we're getting that security of knowing you can start where you're at.
I don't think most people are being taught about personal finance in college, unfortunately. I think that's why I need to come in later in people's lives because most of us just unfortunately are not taught this. I went to great schools, but I was never taught anything about money management or personal finance or credit or taxes. So.
Yeah.
You got to learn when you're an adult then.
Assume that you're going to learn it from home and home assumes you're going to learn it from school. And so we come out and we're like, we're adulting, help.
Totally.
And do you think it is fair? Okay. Because again, as a personal development coach, I do think finances are part of your personal development. I am more than happy to refer out because I will not tell you how to do your finances. I have people for that. And I am quite happy that I have people for that for me. And I'm more than happy to refer out.
Yeah.
But would you say it is fair that if you had somebody in personal development that a next step or an adjacent step would be to have somebody in their financial wheelhouse? Or if they got their financial stuff in order and they're like, okay, I feel good. And now I want to step into that next self. And now that I have my footing financially, I can think about what I want to be personally, professionally for my community. Then I can step into personal development.
Yeah, definitely. I would encourage everybody to be wary of any professional that says they can solve problems in every single aspect of their lives. You know, these are all interrelated. I mean, your personal development, your money, your self-esteem, your relationships, your parent, like all of it is it commingles, but you know, I'm not an expert in personal development, and I would, I would say, okay, we can get your money in line, but then yes, you need to work with somebody else on, career changes or any of these things. So yeah, I'm with you that they feed into each other.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for this discussion. I think it's been very helpful. And if anybody has any questions either about finance, personal development, or how they fit together, please feel free to reach out to either of us. You can reach out to me at bridgetrichard.com. That's Bridget Richard Coaching. And you can reach out to Kate at
I'm at hello@beyondmoney.co.
Okay, hello at beyondmoney.co. Fantastic. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you for having me. Such a pleasure.
Alrighty.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this recording.